Utilizando la matriz de contabilidad social recientemente construida para Colombia en el marco de la iniciativa de Políticas y Estrategias Nacionales, investigadores del IFPRI construyen un modelo de equilibrio general para Colombia enfocado en comprender cómo el cambio climático afecta a la pobreza, el género y el crecimiento, para así examinar estrategias de mitigación que superen su impacto negativo, especialmente en las mujeres. El estudio involucra también a estudiantes de maestría de la Universidad de George Washington, que colaboran en la concepción del trabajo de investigación y que estuvieron capacitándose en Colombia. A continuación, las estudiantes nos cuentan un poco más sobre la investigación, sus hallazgos preliminares y su experiencia de aprendizaje en este país.
Hello everyone, my name is Chiara Velti. I'm a graduate student at the Elliott School of International Affairs within the George Washington University. I study international affairs with a concentration in international development, and I'm here at Universidad de los Andes in Bogotá, Colombia, working with IFPRI on our capstone project for our graduate program. Our project focuses on the climate policies and mitigation efforts that can help to better address the gender inequalities that are present in Colombia. The UN has established the Sustainable Development Goals to try to eliminate gender inequality, but in Colombia, through our research, we've seen that there are evident gaps. There are sociocultural gaps, such as poverty, decision-making, political participation, as well as economic gaps that are tied to land tenure, labor, and wage. We are interested here in order to see and hear the experiences of others and to better inform our policy and recommendations and find the nexus between gender, environment, and economics.
Hello, my name is Mathilde Lebon. I am currently finishing my Master's in International Affairs with concentration in development at the George Washington University, and I am here with IFPRI in Colombia at the Universidad de los Andes to present on a research that my capstone group and I have been working on the nexus of climate change and how that impacts women in the agricultural sector in Colombia. For this study, I focused on the nexus of climate change and gender in Colombia. Colombia currently ranks 10th in terms of economic impact by climate change and is expected to have an annual temperature growth of 5 degrees centigrade if no change is made as of right now. As we know, women are huge climate ambassadors in the world and specifically in Colombia. Indigenous women have proven to be very impactful in terms of climate mitigation policies and strategies throughout the agricultural sector. And we found that gender mainstreaming and climate-smart agriculture policies are key solutions to help close the gender gap as well as the climate gap in Colombia. Gender mainstreaming strategies are helpful to mitigate climate change in Colombia because they can help to have a positive influence on the amount of gender disaggregated data that is very useful to help inform and educate climate change policies and strategies. It's very important that women's intersectional experiences are included in these strategies to make sure that they are effective and can target women in rural and urban communities throughout the country.
My name is Laura Hillard. I'm an international economic policy student at George Washington University, and I also work full-time as a government consultant in the United States. So through our research, we found that women entrepreneurs face a lot of barriers that prevent them from being successful. These barriers include land ownership, access to resources, and access to financing, in addition to education, training, and cultural barriers. In terms of financing and access to resources, women systemically across the globe have less access to financial resources than men. So we see that with women having less access to collateral and information about loans that prevent them from getting an interest rate that will help them launch their business. We also see that women have less access to cash and less decision-making power on how to spend that cash if they would like to invest it into their business. We researched several different policies and programs that could help women, particularly in Colombia and the agricultural sector, grow their businesses. One of those policies is called cash transfer programming, and that is when a government or a different agency provides low-income families with cash, and those families can invest that cash how they see fit. Sometimes these cash transfers come with different conditions, such as enrolling your children in school or going to nutritional training. There's a lot of evidence that shows that these programs are effective in empowering women, particularly in Latin America. And there's also a lot of evidence saying this is helpful to farmers of both genders, men and women. grow their businesses. Unfortunately, in Colombia, the cash transfer program could do more to empower women and give them more decision-making power. So that is a gap that we saw in Colombia, that there could be more research.
Hello, my name is Elena Clark. I am a student at George Washington University studying international economic policy with a focus in international agricultural trade and development. It's been a great experience being here at the Universidad de los Andes with IFPRI and being able to present our research. We've been able to understand and identify how critical it is to have reliable access to data, particularly on labor productivity gaps and wage gaps, on what causes the earning disparity between men and women in the agri-food system. And through our research on Colombia specifically, we've been able to understand more about the impacts of the informal labor sector and how the informality of both land tenure and accurate data on women's participation in the agricultural labor force due to the informal nature and the domestic care burden and gender norms and expectations has impacted both productivity and the policies that govern and target interventions which could assist women and improve productivity and wage gaps. That's why models like the CGE are so important to be able to assess and target accurate and helpful interventions to uplift and empower women economically, financially, and culturally. Through targeted policy solutions that are able to be accessed and identified through models such as CGE, women are able to have better access to financing, lower their barriers to entry, better training, which means better production, better yields, which means higher earnings and better quality of life, empowerment for them and for their families, allowing them to improve their income, their family's income for generations to come, and also to help mitigate climate change through climate smart practices and inspire other policies to build on this progress.
Gracias, Colombia!